Get over here!
Oh hey, we're not even going to the map. We're going straight in.
Oh yeah, I guess so. The story does kind of like...
Make it so that, that's gonna be a thing, huh?
Yeah.
Alright, that's fine. Perhaps we should rest, milady. Master Saleh, is it much farther? We're close. It's only half a day ahead. I would ask for a moment's rest before continuing. We're all exhausted. We can go no further today.
No, Seth. I'll be fine. We must not be delayed by my weakness.
I didn't realize we'd be climbing so high.
Oops!
As I warned you before we set out, the footing here can be treacherous. Do you people truly live in this place? These barren crags seem unfit for human habitation. Material wealth brings strife. We've no need for these things. In this, we are of one mind with the Great Dragon.
The Great Dragon?
Princess Erica, watch out!
More monsters. Master Saleh, do these creatures normally inhabit this region?
No. These things come from Darkling Woods. It's been a long time since they've wandered this far afield. It's as the Elder says, evil omens take many shapes.
It looks like those fiends have noticed us as well. We should move, Erica.
Yeah, so this is a, us kind of trying to travel through the area with monsters besetting us on all sides.
Pretty much, and, this is basically... This is a lot. Holy smoke, there's a lot going on here.
Yeah, and a lot of them can get over mountains, so we're gonna
need our flyers.
We're gonna be defending from different sides over and over again.
Yeah, we're gonna need our flyers, we're going to need our tanks here. Alright, so yeah, we don't even have an opportunity to really get into an intro here, do we? I'm the
really.
Green Scorpion.
I'm the ComicFoil.
And we're gonna do some preparations and see what we can do about this mess. See you guys in a bit.
I'm frightened.
Yeah!
I'm concerned for Ewan as well. I'll go with you. Let's hope he's safe. Oh, yeah.
He is in fact not safe. Hey, wait a moment. We can work this out. You, aren't interested in talking, are you? Ah! So actually, he is safe until we go into that house.
Yep.
Where'd all those freaks come from? I've got to get back down and warn everyone. But I do wonder if Grandmother is alright.
Alright, so yeah, we'll work on that. In the meantime, we got a lot of monsters coming at us from all fronts. The thing with me, however, is that as long as we can take out these flying units, we'll have a lot more room to breathe.
And crawling units, don't forget about crawling units.
Yeah, at the very least, those crawling units can't crawl too fast.
Yeah.
So, let's see what we can do here. First of all... Okay, yeah. I'm thinking either Vanessa or Artur in the woods here to bait those moguls.
Artur's been so good at tanking the moguls.
Yeah, let's have him, and if need be, like, are we gonna get any reinforcements during this chapter at all?
Yes, around the time that we're, like, halfway through the pass, some reinforcements will show up.
Okay, so we'll deal with that when the time comes. In the meantime... Do you think this is worth the longbow use? See if we can get this guy out of the way. With a little help from Tethys, perhaps.
I'm willing to try it, yeah.
Yeah, because the thing is, like, even if he's there, the spider can't attack him.
Yeah.
And if Inez brings him down to a point where maybe Vanessa can kill him.
Yeah, like, I don't think we'll really have to, but we can.
It's one more piece off the board.
Yeah.
That's the main thing for me. Yeah, let's give this a shot. And then... Tethys?
We'll give it approximately 4 shots.
Come on, Inez. Nah. 2 out of 4, that's kind of like par for the course for 53% chances.
Yeah.
Whew. It ain't worth it.
Yeah.
It ain't worth it.
Yeah, just let him come to us.
Yeah, we'll have Vanessa stand by here for now, however, to help Artur with those moguls.
Okay. I mean, Ignis, the spider's gonna come down and Ignis can kill it next turn.
Yeah.
And probably even somebody else can kill it if we don't want to do it with Ignis.
Mm-hmm. Damn. I actually think I'm down to do this with Gilliam.
Okay.
Just so that Ross can have the room to bait that gargoyle without having any damage on him. Nice work.
All right.
Gilliam's come into his own. Like,
Yeah.
seriously.
Yeah, I wasn't really planning to use Gilliam until Seth died. And
Yeah, it kind of like required a little bit of necessity there. But other than that, yeah, we pretty much have a bit of an A-team here. We brought Ford back in with Franz, and here we have a new unit, Saleh. Basically the Pent of this game,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Yeah, you get a free Sage.
Yeah, level 1 Sage, and he's pretty good from what I am to understand. Alright.
We did not bring Laura Shell because even though I would like to use her, we'd rather, like, find a safer place
Yeah.
to start leveling her up. So we brought Natasha, and unfortunately those are the only 2 healers in the game, so...
Well, Mulder.
What? That's not a character. I decided I'm gonna be just kind of belligerent
Oh
towards
my
that
god, you are
commenter.
such a jerk. Oh my lord. But no, in all seriousness, we understand. But we just are not interested, man. I'm sorry.
Glorified NPC.
Yeah, like, even to this day, I've never used Mulder.
I have used him before. He does the job, but he's...
Right.
Out of those 3, he's my least favorite to use.
Mm-hmm.
I do like his personality, though.
Oh yeah, I do remember you mentioning that, like, he's got a bit of a fun personality, and that
Yeah.
he's a bit silly.
Yeah. He's just like a good guy, and he, like... It's like he knows that he's nobody's first pick.
Aww. Oh yeah, because, like, of that whole birthday conversation, right?
Yeah, him and Gillian's support is all about how everybody forgot his birthday. But he's just like, oh yeah, that's alright.
Well, the good thing is that, like, these guys aren't exactly, like, eager to move forward, it seems.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not straight up charging us.
So what I can do here is I can put Ross here with a hand axe to bait that other gargoyle.
Yeah,
and we can go from there.
Kill this first one with someone else.
Yeah, and this guy can't even reach him if he's put there, so that works out.
Yes.
Yeah, it seems like this is a situation where the monsters are really just, like, kind of minding their own business, and we just gotta get past them.
Yeah, I was expecting more of a, like, full tilt swarm, but...
Hey, I'm fine with that.
I would be fine with Garrick being an endgame unit. I like him a lot.
The thing is, like, I was actually doing some research, and I, like, saw some of the comments mention that Garrick is an extremely viable unit, specifically because his constitution is so high.
Yeah.
Like, the dude is a 13 con, he has really, like, respectable strength and skill. So, again, he starts out with a steel blade, but we saw him in the last chapter. He was doubling with that thing.
Yeah, he can actually use it.
Mm-hmm. So, that's pretty much, like, something that's definitely worth considering. Okay, so do we want to give Sally a bit of action here?
Yeah, let's...
Holy those numbers!
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a sage for you.
Mm-hmm.
Who did we run in Blazing Sword as our sage? Was it
No,
Eric?
it was Eric.
Was it Eric?
Yeah, we used Eric mainly. Is he the best mage? Probably not. Like, but he served his purpose pretty freaking well.
I mean, Nino's the best mage, but only if you have time to...
Only if you put in the dedication to actually
Yeah.
train her up, because
which we didn't quite have the time for.
yeah,
Blazing Sword.
the thing is like she is like Nino is amazing if you can train her up. The trick is training her up.
That's kind of what Ewan is now in this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like my recent playthrough, Iron Man, or not Iron Man, but my recent hard mode run of Hector mode, I ended up using Nino. But the thing with Nino is that, like, she kind of, like, necessitates you using the Apha's drops on her.
That too.
Because she also has, like, incredibly good growth rates. So with the Apha's drops, that just becomes amplified.
Yeah, she has insane growth rates.
Yeah, so, like, with the growth rates, like, she just becomes, like, extremely good. But again, one of those situations where you have to put in the time and effort to actually utilize her, and by the time, like, you get her in Blazing Sword, you already have units who are, like, level, like, already promoted at, like, level 5 or something.
Like, she's really good, but it's very easy to just, like, oh, I don't need the best mage in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 pretty good mages.
Especially because, again, like... Well, not so much especially, but it's more along the lines of, like, the game does go out of its way to design the next couple of chapters in a way where it's actually convenient for you to, train up, Nino.
Yeah.
Because, not only are there, like, some weaker units in Battle Before Dawn that, like, Nino can, like, get at least some experience out of, if you manage to recruit Jafar, the chapter thereafter, where you fight Sonya, has plenty of units that Nino can eat for breakfast if you're careful enough. Good stuff, Artur.
Yeah, so I'm thinking maybe either...
Ross!
Good crit.
Dude, that was a much needed crit, actually. That was good.
Either after this chapter or the next, maybe we could do a skirmish or 2, because next chapter we potentially get Amelia.
Yeah. And especially because we're now gonna have Ewan, so...
Yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna give Vanessa some much needed love, because while Vanessa is still very much behind and still pretty weak, having a flyer is just really, really useful right now, so I don't want her falling behind too much. The good news is, and this is something that, like, someone brought up later, is that later on we have the possibility of getting Cormag.
Yeah.
Who's also really good in his own right. Again, if you manage to, like, build him up.
Yeah, that'll be next chapter.
Those numbers are actually kind of respectable for Vanessa here in this state. I know that's just a zombie, but, you know, still, not bad.
Yeah, despite us not really putting that much work into training her, Vanessa is keeping up.
Yeah, again, like, you can't beat the viability of a flying unit. Like, flying units are just super good.
Yeah. This is one where having both a Wyvern and a Pegasus is really useful, because the Pegasus will be good against a lot of magic units and like, magic-based monsters like Moguls.
Yeah, that's especially so, because a lot of monsters do use magic stats in some way, shape, or form. So yeah, having that ability to deal with that with a flyer who has high resistance is just way too valuable. Yeah, this little like choke point here is a little bit annoying, but it's just something we're gonna have to deal with. Yeah, so far these monsters are kind of just behaving predictably, and I hope it stays that way.
Yeah. So long as we keep everybody together, all the reinforcements are progression-based. So, you know, Artur will catch up to everybody, and then it'll be fine. There's not really anything that you need to split up the team to do in this chapter, fortunately.
Right.
There's no... You know, like, Ewan will wait in that house forever. The zombies don't know to attack a house. They can't.
Yeah. That's the good thing, is that, like, houses, for some reason, are way safer than villages.
Yeah, you can attack a village, but you can't attack a house. I'm thinking it's like an old run-down house that Ewan's hiding in.
Possibly. Alright, let me see what I can do here. Yeah, this'll work.
I do love how the GBA Knights, like, the front of their armor is also, like, taken off and becomes a shield.
Yeah.
And then just, like, clipped back on.
I've always liked, it's like some of the design choices that they did for a lot of, like, you know, classic units that you see in, like, fantasy and stuff, like a lot of the knights. One of my personal favorites, again, I remember you mentioning this as well, is that the generals, their weapons, they throw forward and they retract back with a chain.
Yeah.
Like, that's a really, really cool and neat idea.
Yeah, they have these crazy chain lances and chain axes.
Mm-hmm. Let's have Garrick bait that Doog. It's called a Doog, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it is.
Moth
Doog.
Which always sounded like a Star Wars name to me.
That's what I thought! Is like Dark Moth Doog. Or Count Dooku. Oh, goodness.
I have to catch up on my Star Wars. The Ahsoka series is out now.
Yeah, I saw that, and I am actually kind of interested because I think Ahsoka Tano is like one of the coolest characters in Star Wars, like bar none.
And it's following up a lot on the stuff from Rebels, which I really liked Rebels.
I thought Star Wars Rebels was great, yeah. Alright, let's keep this going.
My TV thing right now has been Fiona and Cake.
Oh yeah, I've been hearing about that.
It's actually amazing.
I was never big into Adventure Time, so I can't really say that I was, like, too interested in this, but I hear it's good.
Yeah.
I hear it's really good.
It definitely is for Adventure Time fans. Like,
Yeah.
The thing about Adventure Time, you wouldn't know it at first, but the lore is so thick.
Oh, absolutely. There's so much going on. Well, it's one of those things where it's like there's so much going on, but you don't necessarily need to ingest every single bit of it in order to enjoy the show. It's still a kid's show at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Until you look into it, and then it starts getting a lot more mature and maybe a little bit no, not even a little bit, a lot introspective.
Because, like, Allie and I have been jumping around the series now since, at the time of recording, Fiona and Cake only has 2 more episodes left.
Yeah.
In the season. So we've been going back through Adventure Time and watching random episodes to, like, refresh on some of the lore bits.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say random, I should say a curated list of episodes. But it's so funny going back. It's a TV show that is such a different thing at the beginning of the series than it is at the end.
Yeah.
Because the beginning is this kind of, like, the first 3 seasons of Adventure Time is like a drug trip that's safe for kids. But it is a drug trip.
Yeah, yeah.
And
not Beavis and Butthead levels of drug trip, but you know.
And there were some, like, things of, like, lore a little bit, but it was very in the background of, like, the whole thing is, like, surprise Adventure Time actually takes place in the post-apocalypse of what is basically Earth, or a world much like our own, but after a some type of apocalyptic war.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, like, the main where the darkness comes from in the first, like, 3 seasons, but then following that, it starts getting, like, I think, like, the end of Season 4, beginning of Season 5 starts with a plot point that's, like, very based on that, because they go to Prismo the Wishmaster, and Finn wishes the Lich never existed, and we get to see a version of the world where the bomb never went off, and after that point, like, the Band-Aid is ripped off and the show becomes, like, non-stop crazy lore.
Right.
Which some fans were turned off by because they just kind of wanted, like,
they just wanted
a funny show to...
Yeah, silly haha, this is like, lol, I'm so random type thing.
Yeah, like, to be able to, like, veg out to without thinking too hard about, and it becomes, like... But it's really good character drama, it's really good character building for everybody involved, and the payoffs to some little bits of lore are so good.
It's
the kind of thing where they'll grab something like 10 seasons later and say, like, hey, remember this is really important now.
Right. Yeah, I kind of felt that same way about, like, certain other shows where it was like, oh, wow, this is actually, like, really, like, deep and stuff, and it's like, nice, Ross. Yeah, I gave him a killer axe just so he can deal with those, like, gargoyles, like, straight out of the gate.
Nice.
Like, a couple of other shows that I was like, oh, yeah, this is probably, like, another one of these kinds of shows, but it turns out it's not, and it's, like, a lot more, like, in-depth, is, Bob's Burgers. I expected, like, shows like Bob's Burgers, and another one is BoJack Horseman, which we've talked about on the show before.
Those are both shows I like a lot, too.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, those shows I was like, oh, this is probably just another one of those, like, funny, haha, like, really, like, meta humor adult type of shows like Family Guy or Futurama or whatnot. No shade on Futurama, mind you. Like, I actually do like that one.
Yeah.
But, like, that's what I expected going in. And then, like, I saw a couple of episodes and I'm like, oh my god, this is actually super deep. What's going on here? So that I appreciated.
If I had, like, 2 boxes of shows and I could only watch whatever I put in the good box, probably, like, Futurama, BoJack Horseman, and Bob's Burgers would all be in the good box, and Family Guy would be in the bad box.
Gotcha.
There's good stuff about Family Guy. It's just not...
Oh, certainly. Like, don't get me wrong. Family Guy has been going on, and it's still, like, popular for a reason.
It's extremely quotable.
It very much is. Like, that much is no question whatsoever. I just personally am not a huge fan of it, and I'm realizing, yeah, this guy's got a sharp claw, so he's kind of dangerous.
Yeah, you're not as big into the, like, adult animation kinds of things.
I'm not really. I like more, I guess, like, I like it when, like, you know, cartoons, like, do have that sense of whimsy, but, like, more so innocent whimsy.
When like, a kid's cartoon can actually be for everybody.
Exactly.
Like Last Airbender and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. That's also why I really like, you know, the likes of Pixar movies.
Yeah.
Where, like, you know, Pixar movies do that a lot. Just making sure that there's no threat to Vanessa if I put her up there to heal Ross.
Yeah, like, when I say this show is for kids, that's not, like, a backhanded compliment.
Oh, heck no. Like,
it's like...
plenty of things for kids.
Last Airbender's chief demographic was kids. It's a good show for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Damn, Ross.
And what's kind of happening with Fiona and Cake now is that, like, Adventure Time had a lot of humor for, like, teens and older, but, like, was suitable for kids, and Fiona and Cake now is leaning more into being a show for adults.
Right.
Not that it's, like, really raunchy or anything. Just...
Oh, yeah. More so adults, not because of, like, animation or, like, theme style, but more so it gives you stuff to think about.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, like, these are situations that, like, you know, kids can appreciate because, oh, yeah, like, this is, like, these are couple guys going on, like, fun adventures and whatnot. But then you look deeper into it, and it's like, oh, shoot, there's actually a lot to think about that a lot of adults can relate to. Like, you know, the idea of what it means to be alive, or, like, you know, not giving up in the face of, like, you know, hardship, which a lot of adults can very much, like, you know, relate to. That's the reason I really, really like, Pixar movies. Like, a good example, like, for me personally, is Up. Like, Up hits you in the gut with its like message straight from the first 10 minutes, and it's the idea of dealing with grief.
It's a movie about letting go of the past.
Mm-hmm. And that's something that I can appreciate when it comes to like, you know, kids materials and whatnot. Is those are messages that I feel kids should understand too. Like, yeah, is it something that a kid should deal with? Like, you know, the idea of, like, you know, losing something and the idea of grief? No, they shouldn't have to deal with it, but the reality is they may have to.
I mean, and it might introduce some of these ideas to kids before they have to deal with them, so that they're, like, maybe even better equipped for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because, like, I remember, I was having, a bit of a conversation about it with a couple of, like, people at work, because, you know, I work for the news, as you know, and the news can get pretty gruesome and, like, very, very depressing a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that it's like, you know, that's something we have to deal with.
So, like, let's talk about Finding Nemo.
Exactly. And it's not even, like, you know, because I remember making the comparison is, like, you know, kids shouldn't have to deal with this kind of thing, like, is something one of my coworkers said. And then I was like, you know, if you want the opportunity to, like, be able to have a conversation with your kid about, you know, dealing with grief and love and loss, take them to watch Up.
Yeah.
Like, actually, take them to watch Up. It won't outright teach them the lesson, like, right then and there, but the thing that I feel should be, like, appreciated in a lot of ways is don't expect media or, like, you know, cartoons or, like, TV or anything to outright like, tell you or tell your kid that this is how things are, this is how that is. Use it as a jumping off point where your kid sees this and suddenly they have questions. Now you have the opportunity to talk to your kids about said questions and give them some insight. that's also a really, really good opportunity to bond with your kid and be like, oh yeah, this is something that I can talk to you about, you know?
Yeah.
That's how I see it personally.
Like, there are some, like... There's such, like, dumb outrage over, like, say, like, turning red and stuff like that of, like, oh no, it's like teaching kids about sex. First of all, no it freaking isn't.
No, it's not.
Calm down.
Especially because, like, and this is just me personally, right? Yes, like, I understand the stigma of, like, not wanting your kid not wanting to know about sex. Here's a reality check, dude. They're gonna find out anyway.
Yeah, now if you're, like... What this is doing is if you're being, like, an active parent and if, like, what media your kid consumes is something that you're a part of, then it's, like, a good jumping off point
Exactly.
for you, the parent, to catch the ball and, like, mold them into the person you want them to be.
Exactly.
Not, like... Yeah.
Uh-huh, and oh my god, dude, I see so many, like, instances where the simple solution is, like, a kid asks, hey, that girl and that girl, or that guy and that guy are kissing. Does that, like, what does that mean? And the parent is like, oh, it means that they really, really like each other and they want to be together.
Yeah.
And the kid asks, oh, does that mean that a guy can be with a guy and a girl can be with a girl and whatnot? And the parent is just like, yeah, if they like each other and they're not hurting anyone else, great. And that was it. That's the whole conversation. Nothing else needs to be addressed there. And the thing is like...
Yeah, some people seem to think that, like, answering that opens the floodgates to, like, explaining sexual intercourse to a kid. But, like, no, it doesn't.
No, it does not. Like, it's just one of those things where it's like, you're gonna have... The thing is, like, you're gonna have to talk to your kid about the birds and the bees eventually.
Yeah.
But like it or not, a lot of people I've noticed like to think that, like, a lot of these, like, situations, or, like, a lot of these conversations that, you're going to have with your kids potentially get really, really complicated. Guys, kids see the world through the most simplest goggles you can ever imagine. It is not gonna be a tough thing to explain.
Now, I grew up in a more, like, in like, a more conservative family.
Right.
And I can actually remember specifically, like, when I learned that, like, gay people existed.
Uh-huh.
Because I was staying the weekend with my aunt, and she had The Simpsons on, which was not a show I was allowed to watch.
Right.
Because I was pretty little, and it had strong language and stuff like that. That's my parents' prerogative.
Yeah, that's not exactly something that you can necessarily blame anyone. Like,
yeah,
you
like,
know,
like
strong language is strong language,
yeah,
no matter how you slice it.
Good call, Mom and Dad. But my aunt had The Simpsons on, and it was some episode where Homer's hanging out with a guy and then realizes the guy is gay. And it, like... And Homer's like, oh my god, he's gay! And it cuts the commercial. So, naturally, being 6, I'm like... What does that mean? And my aunt, who I would not call, you know, a paragon of progressivism by any
stretch of the
imagination, but,
right.
you know, even somebody who honestly is kind of a homophobic person was able to just say, like, well, you know how, boys like girls and girls like boys and they get married? Well, sometimes boys like other boys. And we call that being gay. And that was the end of the conversation. I was just like, oh. So, like, even somebody who was, like, more afraid than others of me, like, sympathizing too much with the dirty progressives was, like, able to, by the tiniest bit of parenting, just say, like, oh, no, it's just this. This is, like
that's just...
This is a thing that exists.
Exactly. And it's, like, sometimes it's just that simple, man.
Yeah.
Like... I will say, like, we've definitely made strides lately in regards to, like, you know... I will say this. I don't think we've made the proper strides nowadays for the whole thing of acceptance because, like, it's clearly still a controversial topic even nowadays. I will say, though, that I am very proud of us for making huge leaps and bounds forward in at least making people aware of the issue.
Yeah, and, like, you see a lot more... LGBT plus couples in kids shows and stuff like that without it having to be a big deal.
Which apparently is disagreeable for some.
Yeah, to some people it's a big deal.
To some people it's disagreeable, and some companies.
I'd argue it's not a big deal.
It really shouldn't be. Like, that's the thing. That's the main crux for me, is that, like, yeah, people like to like treat it as a big deal. It really shouldn't be, and it's not. Like, it really isn't. And I pray for the day when we can just be like, oh yeah, this is a thing that exists. This is the world that we live in. Cool.
I mean, I think for a lot of people who will say, like, oh, well, it's bad that, like, Princess Bubblegum and Marceline kiss in the last episode of Adventure Time because it's, like, exposing kids to too much. And, like, all this stuff of, like, oh, well, it's gonna, like, teach them about sex and stuff like that. All of that is just kind of a decoy argument because the person doesn't want to say they don't like gay people. Mm-hmm. I think that's what's happening 90% of the time.
Especially because, like, okay, so, like, this is the argument that I'm gonna put forth, right? Oh yeah, like, these two characters that are a girl and a girl kissed each other. Oh no, this is going to expose, like, my child to, like, sexual content. And my response would be like, has your child ever seen you and daddy kiss before?
Yeah.
Yes. Then what's the problem?
Well, and the problem is that they think being straight is okay and being gay is wrong.
Exactly.
They know that it's not socially acceptable to say that, so they kind of...
They try to skirt around it, and thank goodness I took care of that guy from afar, because that was a sharp claw.
Now, there's this, like, other school of thought that will kind of critique LGBT plus representation, or representation anytime in media, because they think it's, like, too obligatory, or, like, that it's, like, being held up on a pedestal, or that they're just doing it for clout. And there's some more interesting conversations to have there, but I think...
Yeah.
But I think it is ultimately a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Like, are there individuals within that community that do see it that way? Yeah, probably, but that's pretty much like saying that's the equivalent of saying that there's sour apples, or there's a bad apple in every barrel.
Yeah.
Like, honestly.
Like Bud Light started, like, for like Pride Month, had cans with rainbows on it.
Yeah.
Do I think Bud Light, like, is really, really pro-gay and doing this for all their... I think they're a company and they thought this would make them more money than not doing it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't actually think they're, like, champions of representation.
No. But was it a nice gesture where they were, like, at the very least they were willing to say, oh, hey, you know what, this would be a good idea. Do we have a problem? Like, do we advocate for it? Maybe not. Do we have a problem with it? No. It at least tells us that they at the very least, like, don't have a problem with it enough that they were willing to do something like that.
They will still take your money.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
If you're gay,
no questions asked.
You can still give us money. It's fine.
But, like, I just found that super hilarious, and, like, honestly, like, I was fine with that because I thought it was humorous personally.
Yeah.
That being said,
I think it was a bold move if you think about, like, probably who their target demo is and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Which you know for a fact, like, they might have done that on purpose because, like, you know, as they say, no publicity is bad publicity.
Yeah, it was a story.
Like, publicity is still publicity at the end of the day.
News.
What do you have? Sharp Claw.
Or I guess, like, outside of Pixar's, a lot of, like, Disney movies have, like a background gay character, like the one cop in Onward.
Mm-hmm.
That is a Pixar movie, oh yeah, but still, it applies. Or
yeah.
LeFou and the Beauty and the Beast remake and stuff, and they have this, like, very tokenized moment of gay character representation, and, like, yeah, I understand being kind of cynical of that because they're clearly doing it to look like they care.
Mm-hmm.
And to ultimately, like, some people will say it's pandering, and, like, yeah, I do kind of think it's pandering, but ultimately I don't think that problem has that much negative effect.
Yeah, and besides, like, is it pandering? Yes. Did it bring a lot of attention to the issue? Also, yes.
I would rather have the LGBT community pandered to and accepted than have them not accepted.
Oh, nuts. I just realized our tur has, like, more with loot and AME.
Oh, okay.
Huh.
We'll have to get that next time.
We can probably do that during a skirmish or something.
Yeah. We're doing good.
So far. Yeah, the main thing is these, like, big guys that have, like, these sharp, really powerful, weapons. That's why I had to heal Franz up. The thing is, like, I'm kind of taking it slow and letting these spiders come to us. Let's give Garrick some more, like, action. I am all for the possibility of just, like, building up Garrick.
Yeah.
And these spiders are gonna help with that.
I mean, these spiders are, like... They can't one-shot the Cavaliers, but they can do enough that, like, we wouldn't want to put a Cavalier up against two of them.
Yeah. Like, even Ross, like, he took out those gargoyles lickety-split, but he still took, like, at least half his health from that.
Yeah.
Like, we are confident in our units, but we don't want to get careless. I believe we can actually move forward if we want. I can dance Garrick if need be, and we can have, Franz and, Ford take the front there. Heal should be enough.
So I think if we move up there to, like, that enemy line might be when we start getting some reinforcements.
Okay, so still do it though, right? We should be fine?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we have to do it eventually, so...
Mm-hmm.
Because it has a higher age rating, though, Fiona and Cake has been extremely gay. And it's well written and it's great. Because in the last throughout Adventure Time, it was because it was like the 20-aughts, so it wasn't like today. It was a lot more risky to outright say that like two female characters liked each other.
Right.
But there was always subtext that Princess Bubblegum and Marceline had dated once.
Yeah.
And were exes and were like maybe falling in love again, but like there was enough deniability of like, oh, maybe they're just like becoming friends again.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the last episode they kiss and the ship has sailed.
Right,
but
right.
Fiona and Cake has a lot of Marceline Princess Bubblegum going on. Like
Nice.
across, because Fiona and Cake has to do with like a multiverse, so you're seeing alternate universe versions of different characters.
Right, right.
And I guess Marceline and Bubblegum are those kinds of characters that, like, in any universe, they will fall in love with each other.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Speaking of, like, alternate universes, I've had a lot of questions during my stream lately and on my comments. People are asking me about my opinions on Mortal Kombat 1.
I don't even know what's going... So what is going on with Mortal Kombat 1? Is it another reset, like
it's basically a reset, but more like a branch. This is gonna get convoluted, which, you know, is par for the course for Mortal Kombat at this point, I suppose.
Yeah.
But it's a case where so you know how at the end of Mortal Kombat 11 one of the characters can destroy Kronika and take the hourglass and basically become like the next time god, right?
Yeah.
Now imagine like what if like Liu Kang defeated Kronika? What if Kano defeated Kronika? What if Raiden defeated Kronika? Suddenly, every single one of those possibilities is canon.
Okay.
So it's definitely it's a situation of like multiverse type of thing where like all these possibilities are canon. You're like the game itself, Mortal Kombat 1, just happens to take place in the one where Liu Kang was the god of time.
Okay.
And
so it's like Liu Kang's ending in 11 is
like
MK1.
Is MK1, but then like later on it reveals that, oh yeah, there's like so much more going on now. You have the antitoxin. Yes, you do. So the whole game is like playing with the whole idea of like, oh yeah, because of what happened here and what happened there, like Liu Kang tried to build a new timeline where like everything's supposed to work out. Like everything is like, okay, like, you know,
yeah, Shao Kahn never threatens Earthrealm. And...
yeah, Shao Kahn was like supposed to be a servant to Sindel, and like, you know, Molina never became a Tarkat and things like that. However, of course, when Liu Kang finally finished his design, he realized that something was wrong and like someone else was trying to like undo his design. So the game involves you dealing with whoever it was trying to mess up the timeline that Liu Kang was trying to create.
Yeah. When will we learn that whenever you fix the timeline, you're actually making it worse?
Well, the thing is, Liu Kang supposedly did a really good job with this new timeline.
Oh, okay.
Because the thing is like...
I mean, if anybody can do it, I'd say it's Liu Kang.
He did two things. The main thing is that he didn't outright change the alliances of everyone involved. What he ended up doing was that he basically made it so that certain characters, yes, they might still be evil, but they're not capable of truly overthrowing. Because Shao Kahn in this game is General Shao,
okay.
and it got to a point. Nice, Vanessa.
Okay, so because he's not the king, so he's not.
Yeah, he's not the Khan.
Khan.
The Khan, quote unquote, of Outworld is still Sindel.
Got it.
This is gonna be a difficult situation because we got Dukes and we also got Moguls, to deal with here, and now we got these guys coming in after us.
Yeah. I think maybe we should
fall back and deal with this first.
Yeah, we definitely need to pick a side, so maybe falling back would be better.
I suggest we fall back so that we can deal with this sooner rather than later.
Yeah. So if we move,
how
many
move,
are on that side? 3?
Yeah, 3.
If we move Ross, Soleil, and Inez back, maybe also Tethys, then they should be able to take out those 3 next turn.
And if nothing else, at the very least right here, we can establish a choke point with Gilliam to keep these Dukes in check.
Yeah, the problem is then also the gargoyles can fly right over that. But...
Yeah, that's something we're going to have to deal with when we get there, unfortunately. Yeah, let's have everyone fall back, and we can deal with them as they come.
Okay.
Are those the only reinforcements?
No, there will be more when we get up to the boss.
Okay. I mean, more experience at the end of the day, we just don't want to get surrounded.
Yeah.
Which we kind of are at this point.
So, if for some reason, Vanessa and Arthur were still, back where they were fighting those moguls, then we'd be in trouble, but... Yeah, the only thing you really gotta do is just keep everybody together.
Yeah, my main concern is keeping Natasha out of harm's way.
Yeah, when we approach the boss, 5 more gargoyles will show up at the northwest.